got me feeling like I'm 10 again. Early morning oatmeal with the cinnamon. Grown man feeling like a kid again. Cause I remember when I was innocent, playing Kingdom Hearts and listening to Eminem. Now I'm sitting, I reminisce, thinking back on the days I was young and wild with adrenaline.
Man, what is going on? What's good, everybody? This is your boy Q, the Great, back in the building, your friendly neighborhood street philosopher. That's right. I think some of the Q-isms that I spit out is number philosophy. And I got the, matter of fact, who you people? I'm going to go ahead and just let you introduce yourself. What you got?
Well, hey guys, it's VJ back once again with you, aka Muffy Crosswire. Shouts out to John from the John Effect Pod as usual, or as the rest of you know me, your Pod Squad head cheerleader forever and always.
All right. And before I get into that was a track, Sanctuary by my man J Omega. Make sure to go check out that album. You can get it on Google Play, iTunes, anywhere where you have music. And the name of the album is actually called The Essence. So make sure to check out that. It's the Sanctuary Part 2. So we in here again, another day, another Tuesday. That's right. We broadcast here on the TCD Media Network every Tuesday night. 8-ish, whenever VJ decides she want to come to work. Y'all know how we do, but man, yeah. So y'all can check us out on Spreaker.com and go ahead put in the search bar the Critical Dump or the TCD Media Network will pull right up. And also, big shout out, we actually are going to be on iHeart Radio pretty soon. I think we were approved for one of the shows, so y'all be on the lookout for that as well. VJ, how was your week, man? Everything going well for you?
Well, Easter was this past weekend, and that was interesting because I was supposed to be in Vegas for the Pod Squad meetup. So, shout out to DMST Boys and Miss Sneak and Kels from Real Raw, and the Drunken Knights, because I think they all were able to go. I had to cancel my plans and my flight because I got super sick Wednesday night with what I can only think is stomach flu, and it persisted almost well through the weekend until like Easter morning. So,
damn it.
Yeah, I pretty much thought I was gonna die, and yeah, there's that. I was well enough on Easter to celebrate and came over with hunted eggs and barbecued things, and my uncle brought me a housewarming gift, which turned out to be Boone's Farm, and I feel like I'm his least favorite niece.
Wait, hold on. He bought you Boone's Farm?
Nigga bought me a bottle of Blue Hawaiian Boone's Farm. Now, don't get me wrong, because when I was in college, that's all I drank, and that's the taste of it. It was before I could buy liquor, of course.
Oh, of course.
So, yeah, I'm not gonna never drank Boone's Farm, but I'm 31 years old. Like, dude, like, you bought me anything. You bought me you could have just bought me good wine. You bought me a bottle of Boone's Farm. I'm clearly your least favorite niece. Like, I'm the one you hate, apparently. It's a housewarming gift. He's like, I bought you a housewarming gift. Who brings you Boone's Farm as a house? He don't love me.
Oh, man. So that's the equivalent of bringing somebody Mad Dog 2020, some Cisco, some Thunderbird, that corner store.
Wild Irish Rose.
Hey, that bring back memories, man. I remember back in my TSU days, the stomping grounds, when if you had $5, you can get you two. What was the name of it? Ruby Red or something like that? It was so bad that the name, the color of it was in the title in the name of it. That's how you know it's not good
like
for
Kool-Aid. Like Kool-Aid, red and purple Kool-Aid.
The purple drink, like Dave Chappelle said.
The purple stuff.
Oh man, you know what? We should do a challenge today. We should drink MD on the show one day just to see how long it takes for you to say I'm done.
You know what? I'm game. We'll have to do that. I'm totally game for that. We're just gonna drink MD until one of us passes out and we have to call an ambulance. It's fine.
That's gonna be cool. That'll be the first bottle. I'm like, man, you know what? Time out, man. I'm done. I'm good. I don't want it.
Like never mind. Challenge over. We're done here.
Oh man, but you know what? I didn't get to do too. We actually went out to Galveston Beach, if you want to call it a beach. I mean, it's kind of like muddy water, but it was there. I think we were like about Bolivar Peninsula or something like that. So we got to chill. It was cool. And I also found out my wife likes molesting me because for some reason she just like we took a picture and she over there cuffing my titty and shit. I don't know what was going on with that. And then she held my hands down. I felt violated. I thought I had to call an adult on this one, man. I didn't know what went on.
You are an adult.
I needed another one. I need to call my grandma. I'd be like, Grandma, I feel violated. I need some counseling. She over there shaking her head like she didn't do all that stuff. But no, other than that, I think it was pretty dope. The fam came through. It was all good. And I got some days off, but then Monday was rough because we had to come back to everything.
I know, right? And it just seems like anytime you go on vacation or you're off for a little while, it just seems like you get back and you're like, you need a vacation from the vacation, like you're dying. Anytime I have more than like the regular weekend off from work, I feel like I'm just like dragging when I get back to work.
Yeah, it is always rough, especially like long vacations where you off like weeks and then you realize, damn, man, I got to go back to work. Like, you're not looking forward to it. You're like, man, this is going to be terrible. This is trash.
You would think that in all of our years of like working and taking vacation, like when we know that week is coming up, we'd be trying to figure out a way to like not have to go back to work. Like instead we like lay around and don't do shit instead of like trying to figure out a way to not have to go back to work, right? Like we're not using our time correctly.
You be sitting there like, man, you know what? I do need another day to recover from my post vacation fiasco. So I need to let me go and take this extra day so I get my mind back right to working.
Yeah, it happens.
I ain't gonna lie, I was like that last year when we went to Disney. I was like, man, look, you know what? Do I really need a job?
Just start working at the park. It's fine. You're already there. Just
like, man, I get out here and slay some cool cups or something, man. I think I can make ends meet until I find my next gig.
selling cool cups. That is such a southern thing to say. Cool cups.
I wonder, like, do anybody else on any other coast do that? Hey, John, matter of fact, shout out again, John Effect Podcast, dope stuff. Make sure to check him out. Oh, and we also got the other podcast, the Pod Panel, which we should have another episode coming soon. We gonna, it was the beta last time, man. We're gonna get it all together for y'all. It's gonna be pretty dope. But John, TOS, all my homies on like the east and northern areas. Do y'all know what a cool cup is? Does it exist out there?
I think it exists, but they must call it something different, right? Like I don't think they call it cool cups, but I think they have them.
I was wondering. I was like, maybe they call it like a pseudo popsicle or something. I don't know, man. Maybe
a pseudo. Listen, that's a bit much for some kids. Hey, I'm gonna go over here to the candy lady's house and get a pseudo popsicle. I don't think.
I don't know, man. Maybe they vocab on par. They be like, yeah, pseudo. What is that? It means fake, false. You know, pseudo. It's like, oh shit, okay. Here's the cool cup for 50 cents, young man.
Some advanced kids, man.
Man, while you playing, I remember when Raylan, my baby girl, first learned the word terrible. She was like 3, and she used it in context. I was like, wow, okay. Like something came up, she was like, Daddy, that was terrible. I was like, what terrible? What do you mean terrible? She was like, bad, I was like, oh shit, okay. All right, cool. I wasn't prepared for it though. I was thinking she was gonna say this is bad or something along those lines, but
they know more than we give them credit for. It's very funny. Like we always tease my cousin that her 5-year-old is just like that kid's been here before. I promise. If I believed in reincarnation, I'd swear she was like the soul of like an old black woman exists in her 5-year-old body. But they had their field day. I think last week they had like field day or something to that effect, and they were outside. And so she taps her teacher and she was like, when's lunch? I'm hungry. And she was just like, oh, it's soon, like 30 minutes more, we'll be outside. And she was like, I don't think I can wait that long. My stomach is touching my backbone. And she's 5. Oh my God. When our teacher told her mom, she just like, get in the car, girl. Just get in.
It's like, I apologize for that. I don't know where that came from. One of those situations.
She's an old lady trapped in a 5-year-old's body.
I mean, I do agree with you. You know, children are a lot smarter than what we give them credit for, and they catch on to everything. That's why I remember I found myself having to watch what I say around them because they're like sponges. They absorbed everything. So all those bad behaviors, y'all better watch out. Oh man, but you know, this is gonna be us two today. I don't really have any. I know people are probably surprised that I don't have any guests scheduled for the day, but you know, next time we may get somebody in. But we gonna roll along with it, and we're gonna talk about this breaking news segment, and we're gonna talk about a couple things that went on. First of all, I gotta give the biggest RIP shout out to a legend in his own right, especially when it was with the Chappelle Show. He was also in a lot of people forget he was in a lot of Eddie Murphy's movies. Like he was in the Harlem Nights. He was and the Real Gusto from CB4. You know, RIP
which I've never seen.
Oh man, I forgot. You know what? She got to go home. Black card revoked. She's never saw CB4. This has.
I'm gonna watch it this weekend.
But RIP to my man Charlie Murphy, man. You know, it was funny because it wasn't expected. Because I didn't even know he was sick. It was one of those situations where it was like, you know, it's just all of a sudden like, yeah, he died from leukemia. You're like, whoa, what? He had leukemia? When did that happen? And
right,
you know,
yes, odd.
And he's like, I didn't notice because I was watching Black Jesus and I seen he was getting a little skinnier, but you know.
You just think you attribute, more money, you get to eat better, you eat a little bit better so you can, afford a personal trainer, all that good stuff. So you just think they're kind of getting in shape. But I know that he was in this upcoming season of Power, and any of the stills that I've seen from it, he did look like very, very like gaunt and very skinny. And anyone that said they saw him on stage recently had said the same thing. I mean, but it was kind of one of those things where, you just assume that, a person's lost weight. You don't really think about it, and then in retrospect, they're like, "Well, yeah, he did, kind of look sick."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, and matter of fact, I'll go. Let's go ahead and do this. What's your favorite Charlie Murphy moment, line? Anything that you can remember him in, like even if it's just like a favorite movie or TV show. What would you say?
Well, this is gonna sound really funny, but like I think we all watched like the Boondocks, right? And so the episode where they do the robbery, he's like texting, and he's like, "Bitches love smiley faces." That was everything. I said that forever to anybody that I sent a text message to. Bitches love smiley faces. Like I did not care. So I think that's probably like one of my favorites. Like him doing that character was just everything. That shit was funny. It was Ed and Rummy. That was hilarious. And then I guess a close second, of course, would be him on Chappelle Show. But the one where the story about Prince, like that is still one of my most favorite things. He's talking about talking about dudes hitting on Mickey Free from Shalimar, thinking that it was a girl. I died. Oh my God. I died with laughter. I was like, dear God, but he did kind of look like a girl. So I guess
hey, dude, when you talk about androgynous to the fullest, because I seen a recent picture of Mickey Free and I'm like, this dude still look kind of like a broad. It was and it made sense because I went back I was like, dang, I can't even imagine him back in the 80s.
Right. What about you? What's your favorite?
Oh man, of course the Rick James, man. Like I think Rick James is one of the matter of fact, a lot of them are from the Chappelle Show, the Mad Real World, where he was on that. Talk about what he said. And you had sex with I forgot the girl name. He's like, I didn't have sex with such and such. She was like, yeah, you did. Okay, correction. I did have sex with this. Like, come on, man.
I can't remember what her name was. Is it Stacy or something like that?
Something along those lines. And I was like, especially like the Rick James ones when you was talking about, I had to stomp this nigga out, what Charlie Murphy, what did the 5 fingers say to the face? What? Slap. It's like,
slap.
Oh, man. Like, pure classics, man. That's like, and it's funny because, like you said, we weren't really expecting all this to, come to an abrupt end. So, shout outs to the Murphy family, especially Eddie. I know he's probably taking it the worst because people didn't realize that they were like only a year apart, so I'm sure they were real close. Especially like Eddie had him on with Harlem Nights. He actually used to be Eddie's bodyguard, and I think he also used to help write some of the stuff that Eddie did. And a lot of people don't know that, so he's always in the game. It's just we didn't figure it out until he got on the Chappelle show. So even shout out to Chappelle for even people, like he said, it's like if it weren't for him, y'all would just know me as Eddie Murphy's older brother. So
it's very true.
Oh man, so yeah, man. R.I.P. to the to the legend himself. So now let's go ahead and roll it to all the other somber. I guess you could say, somber. Is that the proper word? I had to go back in my vocabulary. I'm out of school, goddammit. But so Steve Stevens, the Facebook killer. Of course, the report broke today that he finally committed suicide in Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken. Was that correct?
Yeah, they said it was in Pennsylvania, and he stopped at a McDonald's to get a 20-piece nugget and fries. And I think they said that one of the workers at the McDonald's recognized him, and so they told him that the fries would be a minute to try to delay him so that he wouldn't leave, and he ended up trying to drive off. He drove off without them, but they did try to delay him from leaving so that the cops would have some time to catch up to him.
Oh, so I guess that McDonald's worker said, I'm going to come up $50, because I think they were offering like $50,000 for any kind of, any kind of information on his whereabouts and things like that. So, I mean, I'm on the fence with this. Now, of course, like I said, I'll tell you, I'm not for any violence against anybody, especially when it comes down to the murder and things like that. But is this a situation where mental health comes into play?
Yes. And I just say that because I feel like we don't have enough discussions, especially as Black people, about mental health and getting help for things. But I will say this. Now, I don't think that necessarily recuses you of any type of wrongdoing, or that, because in most cases, people can do some really fucked up crazy shit and we all look at them as crazy, but then they're found mentally competent to stand trial for themselves. So I think you can, snap, but not be like mentally incompetent. Like, you're fully aware of what you're doing and you have your motives for doing it. I think that may be the case with this guy. Like, I don't want to just say, oh, he's crazy or he was a crazy person. It looked crazy to us, but to him, it probably looked very sane. And he just did some terrible shit. Like, that's the bottom line. Like, at the end of the day, he killed somebody. And I don't know that necessarily a discussion about mental health is going to change that per se.
Yeah. Only reason I bring that up is because here's I was having a conversation with a guy earlier, and I was just saying that a lot of people aren't built for a lot of things that they have to endure. So, of course, I know they tried to do a report on his financial situation and what was going on with him, and how as a kid he was seen to have some anger issues and a lot of things along those lines. And it's one of those things we'll sit there and say, we'll kind of dismiss it. We'll say, oh, well, you be a grown up, deal with it, that type of stuff. And it's like, man, some people aren't as solid as you would want them to be or how you would project onto them. So some people can't endure a lot. You'd be surprised how many people crumble under any type of adversity.
Not everybody is made of sterner stuff. So I think it's sometimes that we I think that sometimes people are not equipped to deal with things, and I think a lot of that starts from when we're very young, right? I think it's that whole conversation about, are we, mentally preparing our children, or are people getting the tools they need to deal with things emotionally? Because sometimes things happen to people and we don't deal with them in the best way, and I don't think that a lot of times we're given the tools to deal with things in the way we need to. And then people are like, oh, well, why didn't somebody help him? Or I think at some point you can be kind of past the point where the tools don't really do anything.
Yeah. I can sit there and say, man, a lot of people don't have the resources. Like, you know, a lot of people don't ever just think about that. It's like some people, their parents aren't in the position to even help you. The people in your circle ain't even in a position to help you. I don't know what to tell you. So, and then of course, everybody can't afford a psychiatrist. That's now you're going to talk to a doctor or a counselor or somebody. And, you know, these certain resources are not available to everybody, unless you have the proper ducats, dineros, greenbacks, etc., in order to get to it. So a lot of people just have to endure this stuff on their own. Like I said, I'm not condoning anything that he did, but it is a bigger look into a lot of things that people in America have to go through every day if they decide to actually look into these matters. So, I mean, when someone calls, I'll just say this. If someone calls you and they say, hey, man, I just need somebody to talk to, you know, if you got a couple minutes, go ahead and just hear them out. Because sometimes people just got to vent.
That's true. And I think that's a lot of it sometimes. And I think you hear with a lot of people, they'll be like, oh, well, I didn't know that person was this, or I didn't know they were that bad off, or I hadn't talked to them, so I didn't know they had XYZ going on. But that's the thing about it. I think if people would just be a little, I guess, kinder to each other, even with people that we know, our family, our friends, we always think that we have time to put things off and do it later or talk to them later. And that's not always the case. And so I think that you're right. A lot of times when people call us or they text us, you know, and they're just like, hey, I need to talk. There's nothing wrong with taking a few minutes out of your day to just see what's going on, even if they don't want shit. Sometimes they don't want shit, but it's just nice to know that for the people around you, if they needed to talk to somebody, they could.
Yeah. And you know, and I don't want to toot my, I mean, I've done that because even if I'm busy, I always say, man, look, let me at least see what's going on with this dude. I mean, I done heard all kind of stories with relationships, jobs, all that stuff. And I was like, all right, man, let me at least get it off your chest. At least you can get rid of that type of energy in your system. And then from there, we can go from there, you know. And that's the only thing I'll say, man, look, just be kind to people, man. You know, lend an ear, even if it's bullshit. It may not be to them. So.
Pretty much.
In the words of Rameek. All right, man. So, also going into that, so who's been venting lately, even though probably not a lot of people ain't trying to hear, is your girl, Tommy Lauren. So, Tommy, we all know that Tommy's been in a lawsuit with The Blaze, or a.k.a.
Glenn Beck.
Glenn Beck, there we go. I couldn't remember. And they've been going back and forth, and now Glenn Beck has actually countersuited her, saying that she was a terrible employee anyway. Nobody liked her ass and all that good shit. So it's funny that, you know, VJ, I want to get your take on it. So she goes on this one show, and she goes in saying how she feel like she's being silenced, and, you know, the rights of free speech, and, you know, etc. But I'm thinking back, and I was like, wait, hold up. Weren't you the one that got on Beyonce for her quote-unquote free speech? Didn't you talk greasy about her or Colin Kaepernick or all these other individuals that try to practice their free speech, but now that you got the wrath of it, you now want empathy?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just look at it a lot of different ways. It's funny because it really comes off as one of those people who was like, oh, now you're finally seeing what you did to people, and now you want people to be empathetic towards you. How does that work?
I think she feels like, right, that as a small blonde white lady, she is entitled to whatever sympathy the rest of us should give her, right? Like, that's the beauty of white people tears. Little white women like to cry about things that the rest of us have to endure every single day. And, oh, poor them. You know, it's so terrible. Nobody wants to listen to me. But the thing about it is we all have employers, right? We all have jobs, and we all have to do what our employers say. And unfortunately, that's the price you pay when you know, sell your soul to Glenn Beck and the Blaze. Like, you have to say what they want you to say, and it has to be in line with their values. And if you step out of line, well, then you don't get to work there anymore. That's kind of how that works. Like, sweetie, when you don't do what your employers tell you to do, you don't get to keep your job. That's not usually how that works.
Oh my god! I mean, it's funny though. It's because it's like hell. That's poetry right there. That's like poetic how things came full circle. It's like nobody ever just thought about this. So you get on, and just because you want to express your quote unquote free speech, now you upset because, oh wait, hold up, I got the wrath of this. I didn't expect that. It's like, yeah, you forgot. But hey, that's another story, man. I ain't gonna get in on her too much. I don't know what to tell you, man. Maybe it is actually funny because your Facebook's like held ransom at the moment. So I don't know how that's all gonna turn out, man. I guess we're gonna figure it out one day, huh?
Wait, who?
Yeah, I mean,
who we talking about?
I'm sorry. Yo, everybody. So anybody who just tuning in, one, you are on the Chopping It Up with Q, and that is me. So we are here talking in the game. I got my man DJ ISO just came in the building. We talking about your girl Tommy Lauren and how she's trying to garner all type of empathy from everybody, and people should feel sorry for her because of what has happened to her.
Okay, do y'all feel sorry for her?
Hell no, goddammit.
You know the answer to that. Nobody here feels sorry for that woman.
Okay, all right. Just make because I don't want to, 'cause I don't feel sorry for the boy. You know what I'm saying? You look, stand on who you are, who you want to be, and understand that there's a lot that comes with it. So you want to, be in you don't be in those folks' good graces, and now you're not in them good graces, so it is what it is.
Well,
so deal with it, goddamn.
She was being whoever, Glenn Beck and the Blaze told her to be. So I think she's also having an identity crisis that she probably needs to work through. An identity crisis as well.
She bought into it. But it is identity crisis.
Man,
I like that.
I look at it like this. She broke the code. And I'm just saying, everybody has these arbitrary rules that aren't written, but you kind of understand that they exist. So I think that she broke those rules because you went against us, and you shouldn't have did that. Now, I know you were trying to pander to an audience, but that wasn't the spot for it. And you did it on a national stage when she was on The View. Now, I don't agree with anybody being fired based on what they say. And yes, I said that because I'm one of those people, I don't care what you say, I care what you do. Not everybody feels the same way, so it is what it is. I understand that's an unpopular opinion. But in this situation, what she said happened to got her fired. You went against the establishment or your job establishment or the code or whatever you want to call it. And that was the backlash.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to look at it like you look at any job. Whatever the culture is and whatever the rules are, you have to be in agreement with that, right? Like, you don't get the luxury of going to your employer and knowing that they have, good Christian values and they pray every morning, and you deciding, well, you know what, I'm going to burn some Bibles in the parking lot this morning.
That would be an interesting day. Can you imagine pulling up to that?
But that's the thing. You don't get to do that, right? Like, you don't get to then decide that that's going to be suitable. Like, you have to make some decisions, right? Like, you can't just, what you signed up for. You know what these people are going to do, so you have to abide by their rules. She didn't want to play ball, so now she lost her job.
Hey, like I said, one show back, way back when we were on with the Buffet Boys, somebody gonna pick her up. I don't even know why she on here trying to do this whole damsel in distress type thing. I don't know. Maybe it is one of those situations. I don't know. Who the hell knows? But somebody gonna pick her up because, unfortunately, she's going to have an audience, especially wherever she goes. So that's all I got to say on her. Anybody else got final words on your on the Snow Princess herself?
She needs to quit being a little snowflake and pull herself up by her bootstraps. That's all I have to say about it.
Oh, man. All right, so let's go and roll into this one then. So it was a situation, you know what? I think God's even tired of everybody's BS because there was a lady on what was it? It was a, hold on. I'm going to get the full story for y'all. So, allegedly, there was a lady on a Delta Airlines by the name of, let's see if they posted her name on here. Hold up. Shamankia, well, hold on. Shamanika Howard. Oh, shit. All the hell. Shamanika Howard. She was on a Delta airline and was trying to actually purchase a ticket. And that they didn't have any available, so she reached over the counter and smacked the dog shit out of the Delta airline receptionist at the time. Oh, that's not receptionist. I'm sure they called it another lane. See, hold up. Okay, so they just said a Delta Airlines employee. So she reached over and smacked the crap out of her and said, God told me to do it. I don't know. I don't have any other words for that one. So that was divine. That was a divine situation where she got the word from up above, and a light shone, and it said, you know what, smack the crap out of her, or what did Five Fingers say to the face? You know, one of those situations.
Look, sometimes the Lord just comes into your spirit and tells you to do things. Now, generally, they give you medication for that, but if the Lord told her to slap a Delta Airlines employee, then who am I to tell her that it didn't happen? Now, I just feel like a lot of times people like to bring Jesus and the Lord into things that don't have anything to do with them. Me personally, I just feel that way. That's me talking, not everybody. Don't you flood my mentions talking about what Jesus has told you to do or not do, or what moves he told you to make, or the time Jesus told you to buy a lottery ticket and you won $5. I don't care. Debate your mama. All I'm saying is that sometimes people like to use them for stories, and I feel like Jesus is there with that little mean face, with old dude with his top to the top. Nah. I just feel like Jesus is up there, shake his head profusely, like, no, I didn't. Why are you? I didn't say that. Why are you? Man, you misquoted me. I didn't.
I'm sitting there like, God probably like, man, why are you bringing me to your problems? I ain't tell you to do shit. And I don't.
God up there with the yuck face, like, I didn't. Oh, no, baby, what is you doing? Like, God is up there with that face, like, I didn't.
Like, you
just slap that lady?
But that's funny though, because I mean, I've heard a lot of different things where people will say, "Oh yeah, God told me to speak to you," and you know that, or told me to do this particular act. It's interesting though. I mean, how true that is, I don't know, but and to verbally state that then comes off as like, okay, this bitch crazy, you know, one of those situations.
I mean, but reasonably speaking, isn't it like a better defense for assault to say that the Lord was talking to you and told you to slap somebody, other than I was just frustrated and wanted to get home and she wouldn't sell me a ticket?
It depends on who you're talking to. Either way, I'll be like, oh, okay, all right, hold up. They got this jacket for you. And don't worry about it. You're just hugging yourself, you know, during this process. Don't worry about anything. You know, that's what I'm saying. You may bring on more issues than you're willing to take on at the moment. Depends on who you're talking to.
Well, you can either get probation or community service or go to real jail, depending on who else you're assaulted, or you could, go to I guess we could call it, how can I put this? A supervised vacation with lots of pudding and good meds.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's good. That's a good illustration of that situation.
I mean, I feel like they're gonna give me good drugs and I can just, not go to work for a couple of days. Like, I would take the latter, right? That's better than community service than an assault charge.
Oh man, so Shamanika, I think I got it correct this time. That's bad, man. I'm a black man and I can't pronounce certain names. I feel awful at times, but all right. So
it doesn't matter. White people name their kids crazy shit too.
Oh, I know.
Everybody's out naming their kids whatever.
One of the worst names is Guy. It's like, oh yeah, this guy. Okay, Guy it is. Oh, okay, cool. Let's roll with it. Or Mister.
Yuck. Yuck.
Oh man, hey, side story. I remember I used to actually go to school with a guy named Mr. Bob, and for long I thought he was actually a teacher, because you always seen you teach about Mr. or Mrs. blah blah blah. So then when I first met a man named Mr., I was like, oh okay, what class does he teach? They're like, oh no, he's a student. It's like, this nigga name is Mr.
His name is Mr.
Yeah.
I went
That's
to
a little
kindergarten with a set of twins named Kiwi and Paprika.
kiwi and paprika. Come on, man. Like,
Hmm.
okay. You know what? I don't get on people for the names anymore because I realize it's a slight uniqueness to it. But I'll tell any new parent, your child has to live with the name, or at least until age 18 when they can legally change it themselves. But just remember, they got to live with it. I'm just saying.
That's a lot, right?
Oh man! And lastly, on today's doc, I guess our new segment would be. Okay, so I don't even know what to say about these types of men. They exist apparently, and maybe I'm just now coming to realize it because I never had these guys in my circle. But so, unfortunately, a situation occurred the other day where a young lady was actually trained in Chicago. Now, according to the report, eyewitness reports, they were saying that the male who had the woman was allegedly. He asked her as far as do she want to have his babies, allegedly, and she replied no, or in another negative manner. So I'm gonna just say she replies no. The said male then goes ahead and proceeds to stab the young numerous times and then throat at the time as well. And like I said, man, I don't even know what to think about this type of stuff because this is, I ain't gonna say it's new, but I've never been around this type of stuff. And I never met men who would do something along those lines to where if someone rejects you, you did go to violent rage to where you want to kill someone. I mean, that's pretty extreme in my opinion. Now, like I said, I just have to this day have to acknowledge that these guys exist. So maybe VJ, maybe you can speak more to this, and then so I'm gonna let you hop in after that.
I think it's an interesting dynamic when you think about it. I think for men, a lot of times they tell you things like, why don't you just say no, right? Or why don't you just give someone, block them later? And I think there was this kind of outpouring of stories on Twitter where women were discussing the fact that a lot of times men don't take no for an answer. Like, you can tell them I'm married or I'm seeing somebody. Well, what does that have to do with me? Will, follow you around and demand you give them your number. Or like that time I told you I went to the nightclub and it was a well-lit area, but the guy picked up my cell phone and refused to give it back until I put his number in my cell phone. And I had to threaten to burn his entire fucking facial hair area for him to give my cell phone back.
Wow.
What kind of a stupid ass shit is that?
Thank you. That's what I was like. So, man, what you got to say?
Okay, to piggyback on what she said, now let's look at the other side of that. We have to think about why is it that guys won't take no for an answer. You know why? Because there are women that will say, I'm married, and they say, what do you got to do with them? And it still all is. You see what I'm saying? So there's a, you know what I'm saying? Not to saying because no means no. We're going to put that out there. No means no, but it's the certain section of women that entertain this bullshit to give these douchebags give them what they feel is the right to sit up there and people's, because persistence is one thing, but I mean, as long as, I guess, if it's done in a respectful manner, but when you start getting downright disrespectful, then I mean, for me, it's always a woman's comfort level is always ultimate with me. So if I'm doing something to put her outside her own comfort level, then I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? So it's what can you say? It's guys are damn maniac, man. They got some really sick people out there. They got some really sick people out here. But that goes back to what I say. I blame women.
I don't. Well, I'll say this.
Was it a woman that made him do that? No, and nobody made him do it. But was it the woman that was the reason?
See, here's what I would say this is like it all boils down. We're going to dabble a little bit more into this. But it's like, who raised this dude? It's like I mean, even then, because I mean, it's one of those situations because it's like I ain't gonna say a real man, but you have to have a man who is kind of aware of, who is respectful. And it's like you have to have a mom who is respectful. But it's like you get some of these people who will tell their children, "Oh, you should just try harder." I'm telling you, if you just keep being persistent, she go, "No, nigga, no." I mean, and maybe that's why I'm out of touch with that type of stuff. Because if a woman told me no, I'm gonna agree with you. Okay, cool. And I've had women who got pissed at me because they were like, "Why didn't you try harder?" Woman, you told me no. What are you talking about? Well, that just meant try harder.
You know why? Taught you that no means no. Somebody taught you that. Probably a woman, your mother taught you that no means no.
Exactly.
And see, here's the thing. Let's look at it from a mathematical standpoint. I always call it playing the numbers game. I mean, the numbers are especially nowadays, if you are halfway decent kind of dude, the numbers are in your face.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't succeed, try again somewhere else. For the 10 no's that you get, all it takes is one yes. Somebody's going to, the odds are that somebody, they might even get 10, but usually around 3 or 4, somebody's going to say yeah. So that was dude's problem. He didn't play the numbers game.
Oh, man. BJ, what you got to say?
Okay.
So what you got to say, something?
I could see your point to an extent, but I also feel like as human beings that are functioning in society, you can tell when you're making a person uncomfortable.
You should be able to tell, let's say that.
I will say that for all intents and purposes, you should be able to tell if you're making a person uncomfortable. And there's a very big difference between being persistent to somebody that seems to be in some ways accepting your advances and reciprocating them in some ways, and somebody telling you no, and obviously being scared or frightened or concerned about your presence or the fact that you're in their personal space. And all too many times we see these issues or these stories where women say no and they mean no and they lose their lives for it.
Yes.
So I don't think that it's really a laughing matter in that respect. And I think it's something that we can joke about in the scheme of, no does mean no. And sometimes there are women where they say no and they really don't mean no. But I think as adults, for the most part, you can tell when a person means no and they're being serious, or when a person is telling you no and they are willing to kind of, I guess, entertain your advances.
Make no mistake, sister. I am very serious when I say no means no. That's not a joke. I'm laughing, but that's not a joke. No means no, which means for me is that I'm not even going to take the chance as you, because there's no, and then there's no. I'm not even going to take that chance. To even try to interpret that. When you say no, I'm backing up. That's what a man should do.
That's what anybody should do.
Yeah,
man, woman, child, giraffe, hippopotamus, it doesn't matter. Like, if somebody tells you no, they're not interested, just take that for what it is and move on. But my point is that a lot of times for women, just saying no isn't enough.
Yeah. And
I can say no to you and you're going to hunt me down, or I can say no to you and you're going to intimidate me or harass me or hem me up in a corner, or you're going to try to isolate me with the people I came with, or whatever it is. Like, there are too many stories of women saying the men have approached them on the street and they've had to pretend like they're playing their cell phones, or take off at a dead sprint, or hope somebody sees them. It's not just that. No is not enough for a lot of people.
All right.
No is not getting it.
And we're gonna hold on. So I was like, we're gonna elaborate a lot on that at the towards the actual topic of this, but I do agree with. I think it's a little give and take. So for me, VJ, you're right when it comes to yes. A lot of people have lost their lives to people who just can't accept the no. And then, so you're right. No does mean no, especially if you're young. Man, I always put that out there. In the words of DJ I-Soul himself, or Soul Wonder of the South, whichever alias he wants to go by. When someone, especially if you're a young man, if she tells you no, just fall back. Because somebody gonna tell you, just fall back, talk to the homegirl, talk to the girl across the hall, whichever one. Just don't mess with that one, because you don't even want to leave it up to interpretation of if she's saying no, ha ha ha, or a serious no. Just don't even worry about it. You don't need to sit there and try to decide it. So
he's right. It's a numbers game. So if that one's saying no, please go hem her up in the bathroom corner and force her to just go find somebody else.
That's just on the.
Statistically, there will be somebody that says yes. Just take that no on the chin and keep going. Somebody will say yes eventually. That is just the way numbers work.
There's not. I'm not going to. I would like to say that there are a high percentage of guys that understand that, as opposed to the guys that don't. Because to me, that's tough individual to hem one woman up, to make her give you a phone number. That's kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying earlier. I was like, I never hung with a guy like that. I didn't know about that stuff until these stories, or like women that I know told stories about it. I was like, really? Because I was surprised by it. I was like, I've never known anybody to do that. But we'll cover a lot of that later. But unfortunately, this young lady was killed during this process, and I mean, in this situation, I think guys should be, get them with the full extent of the law, man. Some people don't need to be on the streets, man. I hate to say that, but that's kind of a reality of the situation, man. If you're that dude that's going to lash out at somebody because they just don't reciprocate what you feel, that says a lot about you in the end. So, anybody else got any final thoughts on that?
Then you got some sick people out, some sick dudes out here, man. It's that power thing. They like, it's like they get a rush off of it, or they get turned on by that whole power thing over women, man. So that's what I say. It's some sick individual dudes out here. And unfortunately, it make it bad for the guy that is really interested in the female and wants to talk to. It's the gray line even more grayer. You know what I'm saying?
I can agree with that.
Those what is those like the lady in New York with the whole whistling thing, it justifies that.
Yeah. Oh, you talking about the stalking?
Catcalling.
Yeah, there you go.
Shit.
Man. Okay, so that's it on that, man. Make sure to go ahead and look in. Man, look. First of all, stay up to date with coming things that's going on in the world, the news, all that this stuff. There's some interesting things outside of talking about Dante, even though he's doing Dante things right now. But so we gonna roll on to this subject, and I hope she's ready, because she ain't really said she was. But we got social media shenanigans with my girl VJ here.
Well, here's the thing. I was going to talk about Gilbert-Arenas.
Gilbo, that's what I'm talking about now. But go ahead.
But I think he might have received enough of a dragging without me, coming through and reading him the right act. But it's interesting, right? For those of you who don't know, our listeners, Gilbert-Arenas, essentially, I think I can't remember, maybe it's Shade Room or something. I can't remember what who made the initial post, but they posted something to the effect of Black women are beautiful. You don't have to be mixed to be beautiful. And he took that and was like, or, dark skin is beautiful. And he was like, well, how dark skin are we talking? Because
I'm sorry, it's not right. That's how you know your next comment is going to be screwed up. How dark are we talking? This was moments you say, okay, I'll just stop talking. You just shouldn't say that, but go ahead, continue.
But oh no, he proceeded to continue talking, and then he was basically like, well, women like that we consider beautiful that are brown skin. It's like Gabrielle Union, or he was saying that we're talking about brown skin women. We're not talking about seriously dark skinned women. So he was saying like women with more African features, like Lupita Nyong'o. She's not cute. That's not beautiful. And so then everybody pretty much, got dead in his ass about it because he sounded like a crazy person. And so he backtracked and said he doesn't apologize for things, but that he interpreted the post wrong. And he thought that it was saying that his mixed kids that are darker skinned or brown skinned are not beautiful because they're mixed brown skinned children. Look, I'll just say this. the two of those have nothing to do with each other. Even if he misinterpreted that whole entire post, like, what did that have to do with you then calling darker skinned black women unattractive? Like, what? How did the post go A, B, C, and then you jump to K, and then to G, and then back to Y?
You mean it didn't have anything about light-skinned children being not as beautiful? Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Sarcasm in quotations there, but I'm just saying. Oh man, okay. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interject early, but I'm just like Gilbert-Arenas. Yeah, I understand that I don't remember how long you went to college, or I know you graduated high school at least. So you went at least 2 years or one. I don't remember, but you were at Arizona. I'm sure you came across this term called colorism when you took your sociology course. Maybe, I don't know if you took that version, but, it's this thing where different shades bring in different emotions and different types of empathy or sympathy or whatever term you want to use when it comes to who you're presented with. So it's funny that you have a guy who is of darker skin himself, kind of, sort of. He's probably about, I don't know, maybe he's a little bit darker than me. I'm not that dark of a guy, even though I wish I were, because dark guys be winning. But anyways,
Focus. Stay on task.
I know, I'm going to stay on top. But when it comes to, here's what I would say like this. There's a difference between preference and then down talking someone else. So you can say, I prefer fit women, or I prefer taller women. I prefer brown skin or yellow bone, red bone, dark skin, etc. You can say those things without saying anything else is unworthy or not good enough or anything along those lines. And I'll even tell a lot of people, when it comes to those type of subjects, don't discuss it on social media, because your quote unquote your typing can be misinterpreted for something else. But go ahead and continue, BJ.
I just was going to say, I agree with you. Like, I think that a lot of times people mistake preferences for other things, and it's fine to have preferences. It's fine to not be into dark-skinned chicks, but I just don't think it was fair, I guess, or even, it was rude, honestly. Like, if we're just going to be just straight factual about it, it was extremely rude and misguided to just feel like somebody was talking about your children when your children weren't mentioned in the post at all specifically, and then lash out at them. And then in you lashing out about that, which had nothing to do with the original post, you're gonna be like, oh, and after all that, by the way, Lupita Nyong'o is still ugly. Like, what? Like, he did. At the end, he was like, she's not that cute anyway. She's still not cute. I'm sorry. Like, it's like he couldn't apologize and just let it go. Like, you still had to like kick that in there too. Like, he just like, I'm gonna kick you in the side, and then while you're laying on the ground rolling, I'm gonna piss on you. Like, what?
So what you got on that one, man? So I don't know if you're familiar with the Gilbert-Arenas situation, but he was that?
I heard about it.
All right, go ahead. What you got?
Did he say that Lupita is ugly?
He did. He said along those lines, and I was like, oh, okay, if you say so. Because I already
she's
know.
Not cute. Well, let me rephrase that. He didn't say she was ugly. He said she's not cute.
Oh,
those were his words. It's the same fucking thing. But
yeah, I'm about to say, isn't that the same?
No, it's not the same thing, because she's not cute and then she's ugly. You know what I'm saying? I can
okay,
give you an example.
I would put like this: if you say someone was not cute, then what are they?
Serviceable.
Fuckable. Is that?
There you go.
Yeah.
Serviceable.
See, as men, that's how you got to get dudes that talk that bullshit like that. The first question, what are you going to ask you? Will you smash?
Of course. That's the first question. Would you do it?
When it's, if you're going to smash, then. Cute or not, you going to smash? It's obviously you cute enough. Why are we even listening to Gilbert-Arenas?
That is.
Why are we listening to him? Why are we even taking what he says seriously?
I don't know, man. This is the same Gilbert-Arenas that wanted to test this gangster with what's I forgot his first name, but last name Crittington, and he tried to bring a gun, try to punk old dude, and then you realize dude was a real gangster. I'm just saying. So, is this one of those situations where it's like, hey man, look, I bit off more than I can chew. My bad. Let me fall back. I don't know. Go ahead, finish your point, so.
I have none. My point is, why are we listening to this dude? This dude is a nobody. Hasn't been somebody for a long time. So why are we worried about what Gilbert? That's an attention thing. Get his little name out there swimming on we can call him. He's always been kind of surrounded with kind of controversy. So he's just gonna say some stupid shit. There's no argument. There's no point to it. It makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, that's also not. You know, it's also like forget that this was the guy that posted on how he scammed his credit card company. A lot of people don't remember that. I think he posted.
Remember that one.
He posted.
Yeah, he did. He was saying that. Yeah, he said something to the effect that anytime he goes out, like in like a nightclub, and they get like VIP and bottle service and all of that, he goes and calls his credit company the day after and reports that his card was stolen and the charges were fraudulent, and gets the card canceled and gets the charges reversed.
And he's such a genius. He put this on social media for evidence.
Said I break it with my girls right before Christmas because I ain't had to buy them no Christmas gift. And we did, old girl. He ain't shit, boy. He ain't shit.
Oh man, this dude's not. That's why I laughed when people got mad at him. I was like, hold on, this dude's not that smart anyway. Stop worrying about him.
What's
yeah.
$200 million contract, so he's smart enough for that shit.
That's it. But remember, he wasn't smart enough to realize that. Oh, I'm testing this dude gangster for $1,000. That's it, $1,000, and I lost my contract over that.
Niggas do nigga shit. You know what I'm saying? It just goes to show you, no matter how much money you give a person, you know, if ratchetness is in them, then ratchetness is just in them. No matter what, they are who they are.
Oh my goodness, VJ, you got anything else for us, ma'am?
Well, okay, so, well, if anybody's familiar with the ATL orgy,
that's what I'm talking about. ATL orgy, when you go and get hustled for your money. Oh, that's right. They ain't had women there last time. Oh shit, my bad.
Apparently there may be an ATL orgy part 2, but in lieu of that happening and having a time and place and date, one of the organizers of the original one, Sydney, I believe her name is, posted a 3-part video series on Twitter today, in which she stood naked outside on what looked to be a balcony and discussed why we as people have issues with nudity versus violence on social media platforms and in real life. Now, she made some very, very excellent points in that video. But I just wanted to give her a blanket and some hot cocoa because I just
You should not realize that every meaningful thing she said goes clean out the fucking window because you naked.
Well, the thing.
Go ahead.
I just don't understand this now, dude. You don't make me mad.
Well, the thing about it is that I get the point that she was trying to make, right? Like, why is nudity that big of a deal? Like, why should it be that big of a deal? So I get where she was going. Like, I'm going to sit here and have this serious conversation with you about something that is important to me, and I'm going to do it naked so that you can see that nudity is not that bad of a thing. And if you really don't focus on my nudity and listen to what I'm saying makes sense. But the thing is, you have to get over the hump of watching her titties flap in the wind in order to listen to what she's saying.
Exactly. Right, but that goes both ways. If right now, VJ, picture the most handsome man you can, who, if he was around you, it automatically get moist. You don't have to say who it is. Now imagine him naked trying to talk to you about quantum physics. You are not going to pay attention.
Listen, I would be in that man's lap like, tell me more, talk nerdy to me. What else?
What is E equals again?
Stroking that man, stroking his face lovingly like, shh, talk nerdy to me later. Now's not the time. Like, no.
That's what I'm saying. So,
nah, G, I'm not going.
Oh man. Oh,
Niggas
okay.
that part anyway.
You know what? This is one of the things that I found fascinating is that for some reason we don't think nudity works in the opposite way. Yeah, of course, scientifically there are different chemicals that come into play when a woman is naked or you see titties or something like that. Yeah, but that's across the board for everybody, women, men and women. But
Correct.
I put it like this: if the man that you found that attractive, let's like, if for some reason the most attractive man you could think of is out there talking to you and trying to teach you something, but he's stark ass naked, you are not paying attention. And yes, nudity is going to be pictured in this situation. It shouldn't always, no. But then again, I think it's also turned off different. It depends on who it is. Like, for instance, I've seen my children naked and my sister and all them naked or younger children. It's not the same. But if I see my wife naked, I'm going to tackle her ass. That's just how it works.
Run, Alicia, run!
But go ahead, so what you say?
You are, as a woman, the naked man is standing in front of you trying to talk any kind of thing that makes sense. You are thinking about the application of wood then.
Thank you. I say it's different. And a lot of people want to make general, broad statements, and it's like, okay, overall, I get what you're saying. You're right. Nudity shouldn't always be viewed as sexualized. But if I see someone who's going to stimulate my psyche, and all of a sudden my the woody comes up, I'm no longer thinking logically. And even then, on the flip side, if all of a sudden he get them juices flowing, you're not thinking about what he talking about. You're thinking about if he go ahead and insert this member right here. Hey, it's right here. Come do it. I'm just saying.
It's true. But I mean, to her original point, though, I think that she's right in a lot of ways. I think we are in some ways desensitized to violence, and we don't think anything about sharing violent images, but we are reticent to, share images that are sexual in nature. So I get her point. I think maybe it should be both of those things. Like, why is it that we don't, why do we care to share violent things, but not necessarily things that are sexual? And I get it, because I think at a very young age, we're able to process violence more so than we are able to process sex. But I think that you can have both conversations in a way that are age appropriate.
Yeah. Hey, I said that earlier. You better quote me properly. Not
yes, that's what you said.
But no, I mean, and that's the thing is, like, I think there's different level and stages of everything. So yes, when it comes to public domain, I think it's the rules are a little bit different. If Soul were to somehow post dick pics on Facebook, yeah, he's gonna get flagged for them shits. But if you show him fighting somebody, it may get flagged, but it's not gonna take, it'll take a little bit longer for it to get flagged. And I do get her point, because, for some reason we do desensitize from violence faster than we do from sexual acts or things like that. But it also comes to that point to where I think we understand violence at earlier stages than we do sexuality. I mean, I don't know. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, I wonder how long it would take them to flag a video of him getting punched in the dick. Then,
whew, that's a good question.
do you think it take longer than the just punching video, or does it take
Anybody want to do a beta test on that?
I don't think he wants to. He doesn't want to play.
Oh man. People gonna fall for it again.
Just let me punch you in the dick for science or whatever.
Hell no.
What? I don't think anybody's going to agree with that.
Look, I asked. That's all you can do. Listen, I did my part here, Q. Really.
No.
I don't know. So, what you got to say on all that stuff, man? Do you feel that
Fucking punched in the dick? I'm gonna say tomato, my brother.
No. I mean, I
We
guess
meant about the part before that.
Yeah, the
Obviously,
part,
we're
you know,
over the dick punching.
her overall discussion. Yeah.
Oh, nothing really.
Okay. Oh man.
Not my concern.
He's like, I don't care. She's naked. I don't want to see it. Shut up.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. When I first seen it, so I had scrolled to it at work one day because I was like, man, let me take a break from doing this report. So I looked on Twitter. It was like the first thing on top of my Twitter feed. I said, oh shit, let me move that. Let me scroll down. I said, I can't be seen with this on my screen at work. So
That's how you.
was that?
That's how you got me. That's how you got me when you sent it to me today. I was like, oh shit.
Because
Where's the link?
say that again. So my bad.
I do have something to say. Where's the link?
I have to send it to you. So as soon as we get off, I'm gonna send you the link to her Twitter feed. I
want to the origin.
Oh, the origin. No. Okay, so the origin was how can I put it? It didn't really happen. I guess that's the word. So it became a sausage fest for the most part.
The way I understood it is that they had the way it was told to me is that they basically were doing a social experiment because she had a paper to write, and then they actually did have an orgy for her birthday, but it was like a private event somewhere else that was not advertised on social media. That's what I heard. I don't know for sure how true or untrue that is, so don't quote me, but
So basically, motherfucker hustling.
yeah, they pulled an iconic scam.
Oh man. Oh my god.
As usual. Black folks always got to be hustling.
Hey man, man, look, I'll put it like this. The hustle is the art of the world, man. But I think another part is people don't understand when they're being hustled. I think that's where it really falls apart. And I don't know. VJ,
I don't know. So you think if I hosted an orgy, people would come? Like, do you think I could scam people that way? Like, could I get on Twitter and like show a titty and be like, "Hey, I'm having a Lufkin orgy," and have people show up for that?
I'm sure. Yes, I'm sure somebody will pay like $200, $400, $500 just to fly out the Lufkin. Oh hell, you can't even fly into Lufkin. They'll fly into what's closer, Houston or Dallas?
Houston.
They'll fly into
Houston. Drive the 2 hours to Lufkin for an orgy that's not going to happen.
Exactly.
Hope they bring those Xbox Ones again.
They don't believe it is Lufkin. Houston, they might believe it.
I know, right? Nobody's gonna believe I'm having an orgy here, so let's just scratch that. Houston orgy.
It had to be one of those situations where you got to say you're in H-Town or something like that for people to really acknowledge the situation. Oh man. I ain't gonna lie. People still gonna spend money to go to it because dude's a poon hound. So for the most part, so when they know there's vacant vagina, then I think somebody's gonna try to take a chance for it.
Oh Lord. Okay.
Oh man. So I don't know, VG. You got anything else for us? Okay, she signed herself. But I don't know. You got anything else for us, man?
Come on, me?
I was trying to get with her, but okay. So, since my man Soul is on, I know you really want to talk about this one thing for the most part. So I'm gonna get your opinions on Soul. Your man Aries Spears was on the 5150 show. What? Last week or 2 weeks ago, somewhere around those times.
Last week.
It was last week. Okay. The show. How can I put it? It started okay. It started all right, but it ended horribly. And let's just say it ended in a scrap. I'm not gonna say the individuals because I don't want to, put any names out there. I still respect the dudes entirely, but let's just say it didn't go that well at the end. So, man, what you got on all of this?
Okay. I just was. Well, I haven't finished watching the whole show, but I was watching Zoe's show Wednesday. I mean, Zoe show that he had yesterday, and it was the title of the show was basically about people that'll take you there and how to come back from it. That make you cross that line. I'm just paraphrasing. I have a whole different. But first of all, more details have come about as to what actually happened, what has transpired. As far as that is concerned. First of all, Aries is crazy. That dude is lunatic. And so, first of all, I mean, it's basically a show of acknowledging that he was wrong.
Okay.
And I commend that brother back. You know what I'm saying? And he made me understand because he had Lewis Dix on the show.
Oh, wait. Okay.
And, him and Lewis Dix had a blown up, some years ago on the foxhole. And
Yeah,
so
I
he
remember
goes
that.
into why they had that in the first place. What happened was Zoe's mom had just died a couple of days before. So, when your mother dies, you're in a space. You know what I'm saying? So, he made the point about sometimes when it's a situation like that, it's not even about what's going on. It's you arguing and hollering at something else. You know what I'm saying? So I haven't finished watching the show, but I commend that brother for acknowledging his part in the situation. He tried to reach out to Aries, but Aries, like I said, he's crazy and he called himself trying to do some some gangster shit now or some silly shit.
Oh,
I knew what happened. And so, like I was telling the cat on Twitter, you know what I'm saying? I have no problem with Zoe doing what he did. My problem is on camera. Because you have a reputation, and not just a reputation, just for legality reasons, because if he's a bitch nigga like he is, then you open yourself up to like he said, suing and all this kind of shit, But that's just the gist of it, man. Like I said, I have a difference of opinion about the situation. Now that I know more information, it's messed up that Cats when it was going at Zoe making whole videos and talking about dude's character like that when in actuality, first of all, he's a human and he has a limit. Like we all do. You know what I'm saying? We all have an anger issue, and the mismanagement of our so especially as brothers, especially when we get to the point where disrespect. Black men, we don't play disrespect. Black people in general, we don't play disrespect. But from a man to another man, the disrespect like Aries came and he did, you know what I'm saying? I hate to say it too, but he kind of got what he deserved.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It could have been worse. It could have been worse. But like I said, I commend that brother. Like I said, I remember I said some things on 5150 show years ago about Lewis Dix because I didn't appreciate something that Lewis Dix did. He said something about Patricia Neal when the man was down. And I don't know that brother. I didn't know that brother to say anything about it because I didn't know that man's character or anything like that. So, Friday, I'm going to call the show and I'm going to publicly apologize because, we all get misjudged. We get judged by what people think, but because of particular action, we get judged by, okay, that's who he is. But no, we're not. We're not we're human beings. We mess up.
Yeah.
Things come back.
And I totally agree. VJ, I don't know if you were able to take a look at the video that I sent to you. What are your thoughts on it if you did take a look at it?
Well, I actually didn't get to finish watching because, well, there was a million other, I think, things that we had shared between the two of us, and I think that one kind of slipped me. So if you'll tell me kind of what happened.
Well, there was an altercation on the 5150 show. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that was that's a show that Corey Holcomb has with along with Zoe Williams, and I think they had Aries Spears on, and let's just say it didn't end well in a lot of cases. That's as far as I'll take it. So there was a situation where they got into an altercation towards the end of the shows, and it almost goes back to the violence talk that we were talking. It's like, yeah, to an extent, violence is, I think, is one of those situations, and some people only understand violence, and I think violence is a universal code. You know I'm agged now if I'm coming at you like that. Or, you know, I've reached that point. So, I don't know if since you didn't get to really take a look at it, you know, you don't have to elaborate too much, but I don't know. I guess you just put it like this. Do you feel that any kind of types of violence, do you feel that it should be discussed first, or do you feel like when violence does ensue, it's almost somewhat justified to an extent, or et cetera?
Well, I think the thing about it is that people, like you said, I think violence is a universal language, right? I think everybody knows what it looks like when someone is angry. Like we all know what that looks like when someone's angry, or they're at that point where they look like they're about to snap on you. Like we know what that looks like, regardless of languages or where you are or whatever. But I think the thing about that is at some point you have to look at it as, you know, what do I stand to lose? Like, we're not kids. This is not a playground scuffle. Like, we're, you know, two grown adults. And I think we ought to be able to have conversations about things without it escalating to violence. Now, I get it. Sometimes you just got to knock a nigga out. Like, I get it. I'm not going to tell you that I've never fought anybody. I'm not going to tell you that I've never made some piss poor decisions and, like, maybe, you know, slapped a bitch with a stiletto in a bar. Like, I'm not going to tell you it didn't happen. All I'm going to say is...
I'm sorry.
A stiletto in a bar. Any elaboration on that one?
Please. Please.
Okay, so story time with VJ. So we were in a bar on 6th Street, and it was one of those places where they have like the very small round tables so you can kind of put your drinks on, and like the stool. So it's not really like sitting per se, you know what I mean? Like, you're kind of standing around the small table using it to hold drinks. Well, this girl was like pissy drunk. It's 10 o'clock. And so she's drunk off her ass. She keeps bumping into the table. She's bumping into us. She spills one table full of drinks.
Ooh.
You know, it's like the middle of the week. Drinks are like cheap. It's bars on 6th Street with college students. We didn't pay much of anything for the drinks. So we let her make it the first time. We were like, okay, just be careful. Ordered a new round of drinks, whatever. The girl knocks over the drinks again. At this point, I'm pissed off. And I'm just like, hey, I don't know what the fuck your problem is, but you owe us for these drinks. Fuck you, bitch. I don't owe you for a bitch ass thing. You can't do anything about it. Blasey, blasey, blasey. She just went left. Some very drunk white girl. The next thing I know, she turns around. She looks absolutely sick and green because she is shit-faced drunk. And this girl proceeds to like vomit. And she just vomits on the floor. I managed to step back, but the splashes of her vomit get on my shoe. And so I was like, you're going to have to clean this off of my shoe. Like, I'll make you pay for these shoes. And she's like, I'm not going to. So, of course, she's still drunk, and I'm not going to do anything. My patience ran thin. I pulled that shoe off and had it in my hand because it had her vomit on it, and I grabbed it by the heel, and I smacked the shit out of her. And then I repeatedly smacked the shit out of her. Several more times.
So you smacked the crap out
with
of
the side of a heel,
lady.
yeah.
With the side of a puke heel.
Well, in my defense, by the time I got finished smacking her with it, it was clean. I put it back on my foot.
Oh, man. Talk about savage, man. That's what I'm talking about. Stabbing people in the neck with a butter knife for fisticuffs. That's a Chappelle Show reference for anybody who ain't get it. I feel that, man. That's what's up.
The point is that sometimes we make bad decisions. Now, in retrospect, I'm looking at that. Like, that girl could have called the police and had assault charges filed on me. Like, I was in college.
If you
like, I
shake the
could have
spot fast enough.
Right, but that's the thing. What if I didn't? She goes outside. This is 6th Street. There are cops on horses standing around. So she could have just walked out of the bar, turned right, and been like, some girl just attacked me in the bar. I would have never known that's what she went to do. She comes back in with officers.
Is it 6th Street in Austin?
Yeah, it's in Austin. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, like, you go outside, the cops are right there. Like, she could have brought a cop back, and that would have been the end of that. Here I am, you know, hemmed up on some charges or whatever, and I'm a college student because I done popped her in the face with a shoe. I'm just saying sometimes we let our emotions get the best of us. And I understand that sometimes arguments get heated and people feel disrespected. But when you have shit to lose, like, you have to be smarter than that. And sometimes people say some shit that you don't like, but sometimes you just got to let that roll off your back. Like...
like what they say, "When keeping it real goes wrong."
And,
Hey,
and,
Chappelle
Exactly.
was a genius with that one.
well, look,
You can
check this out, Q. Let me
What's
tell you
that?
let me tell you what they did during the break of Zoe's show. They showed Aries. Aries was on opening Anthony's show some years back, and it was the same thing. It was the same exact thing as when as he was on the show last week. And he did. I know they did it because he wanted to show it's a pattern with this guy. You know what I'm saying? I found that very, very interesting.
I mean, I do remember back in the day, he was on one radio show and he got in a heated argument with the guy there. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It is showing some type of pattern going on. Y'all disregard all the beating of the pans in the background for some reason. My old ladies, this is the perfect time to cook, but it's all good, man. We gonna make it work. But
Bash upside your head.
I know, man. If all of a sudden, if I get silent, y'all know what happens. Y'all just call the proper people to help me out. But
nobody call anybody. He deserves whatever he gets.
God damn, it's cold, man.
Love you.
But you know what? Let's go and roll into this, man. I want to talk about guys like I don't know Aries. I don't know any of these guys, but for some reason there's an epidemic of men who I don't even know if they're beta men or not, but it's hard to really discern from what they are. But it's like you have a group of men who people don't want to be around.
But they're moist.
I didn't say that, but
You called him moist? What?
Oh my goodness! Come
Yeah,
on, man.
moist.
So
I don't understand. I don't.
I'll explain to you after. But,
404 error. What is going on?
But
why are we calling these men moist?
There's a lot of men out here who either are heavily emotional or can't. And I'm not saying that having emotions is bad, but then when you don't know how to control your emotions and then you let loose a ravenous animal onto the world, that's going to equal in a lot of bad things. And you have that. It goes back to the guy who gets pissed because you gave him the wrong number, and he's now ready to attack you, or he's going to corner you. And these different, like I said, the question is who's raising these people? Why are they like that? Can we kind of break down the dynamics of how these people come to exist? VJ, you have more experience in that area than I would, so I don't know. Maybe you can shed some type of light on it.
Well, I mean, I think it's a lot of things, right? I think we live in a society where we place value on males being these strong, silent types. We want them to not be emotional, to not show emotions. And so we don't teach our boys how to process emotionally, right? We don't teach them how to deal with rejection. We teach them that they should be winners and that they should succeed at all costs. And if that means that you don't get to cry about things or be upset outwardly, then that's just the cost of that. And I think with young girls, we are always willing and able to, oh, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings, or do you want to talk about what happened, or I'm sorry you feel sad. Well, what can we do to make you not sad? And I think the ways in which we talk to children from a very young age have a lot to do with that. And for instance, like my godson is 3, and he fell off his bike maybe a month ago. And he starts crying, and his mom immediately was like, "Get up and stop crying like a little girl." And I had to, stop myself from talking crazy to her, and I just pulled her to the side, and I was like, "He's 3. Like he fell and injured himself. Like I feel like it's okay for him to cry a little. Like I get what you're saying, but I don't think it's going to hurt him to cry because he hurt himself. Like I think that's okay."
Yeah,
I think that's the problem. We don't want little boys to outwardly emote, and then when they grow up and you spend 20 plus years, 30 plus years of your life not ever being able to show that you're sad or mad outwardly, the minute something doesn't go your way, finally you just snap and do some crazy ass shit.
And, I agree with that, and I think I had this conversation with somebody before, and I said it's a lot of different variables into this conversation, because I also noticed that yes, when it comes to men outwardly emoting how they feel, I think it becomes detrimental to their relationships, because a lot of women ain't gonna want to deal with. Cause I've heard women say, "Look, I'm not gonna deal with no dude that's no bitch, or who's out here crying like a woman. I'm already emotional enough for us both. I don't need you to be out here emotional like that as well." And then a lot of guys are like, okay, well, shoot, I ain't supposed to show that, so let me go ahead and keep this built in until the point I finally snap and I'm now out here bucking everybody.
Right, but those women are part of the problem because somebody taught them those same behaviors, right? Somebody taught them that men shouldn't emote, men shouldn't have emotions, men shouldn't be able to cry or have stressful days or be able to tell you about those things. So someone in their life, may it be their mother or father or grandmother or whoever, passed that on to them that boys should be treated in a way where they're not allowed to have emotions.
And to an extent, I would say I understand. One, I would say it's more beneficial for men to become more in tune with their emotions, because when they aren't, emotional men are dangerous. Because now you got,
as we saw.
Yeah. So now you got a guy who can't control his emotions. Now he's a unstoppable force. What you gonna do now? So what you got to say on it?
Gotta kill him.
Come on, man.
This one's broken. Take it back to Best Buy.
I think it is, as I look at my life now, growing up, I think at a younger age, I think that's when you start to really start dealing with you should start dealing with your emotions. So, it should be said to a male that it's okay to cry at that point. That way, when he gets older, he's used to knowing how to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? So, I agree with what B just said.
Okay.
And I think it's interesting in that way. Like, go ahead, Q. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I had nothing. Go ahead. Go ahead, finish your point.
And I was gonna say, I think it's interesting in a lot of ways, because I think the older you get, like we were talking earlier about not having the tools to deal with things emotionally, right? And so I think that when we're younger, that's a part of the, I guess you can call it an emotional toolkit, right? That we expect that, parents or teachers or whoever the people in our lives are setting us up with, right? So that we have the tools to deal with whatever happens to us emotionally. So if that means like saying, hey, it's okay to cry about things. You don't necessarily have to cry about everything that happens, but when things are sad or you're genuinely upset, it's okay to cry about that. Or I can understand that you're angry, but let's talk through why you're angry and see if we can diffuse the situation so you're not as mad.
Yeah.
And I mean, communication is key. And I think then you see a lot of these people, male and female, grow up, and you see these women that feel like they should hit on men, and you see these men that feel like they can't take no for an answer, and if they do, they throw temper tantrums, right? And then we're just like, oh, they're just hungry or whatever. But no, they're red flags, and they're signs of other things that they aren't able to process emotionally as adults, and they're not able to communicate their feelings. And like you always says, there's not that much difference between, adults and children. And you look at it from that standpoint, that's how they're acting. They don't know how to process their emotions, and they're acting in the ways that children who don't have the tools yet to process emotions act.
That's right, y'all. Another Q gem out there. That's what I'm talking about, man. She quoting me like she should. That's what I mean. You know what I mean? But nah, no,
I'm not drunk enough for this. Lord.
But it's interesting, because when we really sit back and take a look at a lot of these situations and a lot of stuff that happens, it's the truth. It's, we're trying to play catch up as we get older. We don't have anyone to turn to when we have something to talk about, because maybe they don't know. I mean, it's a lot of people will say, "Oh, it's the parents' fault," but I'm like, honestly, a lot of parents don't know what's going on. And I think as we become more advanced, the more complicated life gets. I mean, think about it. Like, hundreds of years ago, all you had to worry about is, hey, am I going to be a good warrior? Can I hunt? I'm good. Now, damn, am I going to be able to support a family financially? Am I going to be able to get a job am I going to be able to keep the job that's in the right market? And, there's so much going on. A lot of people don't realize that as we become more advanced, the more complicated life gets, which means the more stressed life becomes.
It does indeed. I think it is a lot more stressful than it was maybe say even 20 years ago. And I think in terms of kind of emotional tool, like we're talking about emotional tools and being able to cope with things, like we have so many other coping mechanisms or things you can do to cope. But even with us compared to our parents, compared to, children well, you have and that I, may have, I think it's very different, right? Like when we were 9 or 10, we didn't know what cyberbullying was. That wasn't a thing. People didn't get on the internet. There was no internet for you to get on and call another 12-year-old a slut or, I mean,
Exactly.
you see what I'm saying? But then you have two little girls. So then that's very different. That the parenting and having emotional readiness for them looks very different than what it would have looked like for us growing up. Like those are not things that we had to deal with. So then how are you as an adult, what tools do you have to then try to help your kids work through that when you don't really have a real understanding of what that feels like? Because when we were their age, that wasn't something people worried about.
We just whipped the bully's ass. We did.
Say that again, so?
We didn't cry about it. We just whipped the bully's ass. We just tackled it.
You're right. But unfortunately, in this day and age, a lot of people are not built for that. I don't know what it is that, of course, that's one of the tools, one of the lessons we learned early on. You got bully trying to come at you like that, whoop the bully ass, he ain't going to fuck with you no more. But now...
Right, but that's the thing. But what do you do when the bully's not physically assaulting you? They're not necessarily picking on you. They're doing it from behind a keyboard.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this is a new generation. This is a whole different can of worms with these children. They're super high tech. Like, they're not outside. And then come to think of it, like with schools now, like you can't hit other children at school. They will arrest your ass.
See, that's the thing about it. It all started when, you couldn't whip your kid's ass. And so it just trickled down from that because, like I said, you dealt with it by you tapping it. As far as behind a keyboard, see, that's where a parent comes in that where you emphasize, this is a person, you don't know what this person is. It's fakeness out of here. So I guess that's where a parent will come in and somebody teaching them the right way to handle things. Well, that's what it all is. Teaching your kid, teaching the person to handle it the right way. Just like I was saying about crime and stuff like that, dealing with that stuff at a young age. So when you become an adult, it shouldn't be such hard. It shouldn't be.
Yeah. But I think my question would be for parents. I know, Q, you have kids. I think my question is then now, like, how do you instill those types of values in your children when it didn't necessarily look the same for you as a kid? And I think people, will say as much as things change, they say the same. But I feel like we're kind of at a space where a lot of things look very, very different from, maybe 20 years ago when we were kids.
I think, in general, things stay the same. Like, for instance, you're going to have people pick on others. You're going to have one try to exert their dominance, and so on and so forth. But the method has changed. So it's actually, I would say it like this. Me as a father is very complicated because my daughters love things like YouTube or stuff like that. And they want to be on things like Snapchat, man. I have to tell them, nah, I can't let you on there right now. And it's things like such as, I think it was Andrew Westmoreland. He actually had a picture of a situation that happened. And, shout outs to him. Make sure to check out the Indie Press, and also make sure to check out his YouTube channel. But he sent us a picture, and it was like this one little girl. She was just playing on Snapchat, and you had all these creepy ass men on there talking about, hey, touch your toes, and that's what I fear, because I would say I will go find these dudes and slaughter them. That would be my take on that. And I know they'll say, oh, you don't need to do that. I was like, nah, damn that. I feel violated. I feel like they came into my home with that shit. But that would be me. So then you're talking about kids their age that's doing the same thing. It's like, how do you tell them to deal with it? You can't, because some people can just ignore it. Other people, not so much. Go ahead. So you got something.
I'm kind of going through something similar with my baby girl. We got these group of girls that were her friends at school. And my baby, I mean, you know my baby Raven. Raven is a sweet child. She's an outspoken child, and she loves everybody, but that's what they're doing. They're not doing it, not behind a computer screen, but they're not doing it subtly. They're not doing it directly. they're doing it subtle. You know, that you say, I say stuff, and it bothers her. So what I told her, I was like, look, you catch all them at the lunch table, and you tell them, look, you go up to them and tell them, look, if anybody has anything to say about me, you better say it right now. Other than that, I better not catch my name in your mouth. And it took me a while to get her to understand to do this. I had to damn near break. So what is you and Alicia doing?
Man, she was over here trying to fix me a drink, but she was trying to make me take it straight. But nah, go ahead.
So, but the moment she's done that, things have changed. Things have changed to where they don't bother her no more. They don't bother her no more. Then she find out who was the real person, who was the real culprit. You know what I'm saying? So that's something, I guess, because of all the things and like how things have changed. Like we can say about, you can't put your hands on the kid no more in school, jail and all that kind of stuff. And what I teach my children is I just teach them how to use their wits. So if it's a person on what you call them, talking shit, talking about they this and they that, gotta rip them motherfuckers back, talk about their ass back, and two things gonna happen. I mean, you can keep going or leave you alone. 9 times out of 10, you end up leaving you alone, especially when you get them.
Oh yeah, I always said, man, a good ass whooping set everybody straight. But
I don't preach the acronym per se directly, but I always teach them to stand up for themselves. And you just don't have to resort to violence every time.
Which
it's not always.
That's just code for stomp a nigga out if they fuck with you.
Sometimes you got to give the impression that you will.
You're right, and it even goes into adults, like we were talking about the men who just can't take no. Is it a bullying tactic? Potentially, yes.
That motherfucker can beat him upside the head with a stiletto.
Yeah, I know her. VJ, you're the bully. We just realized that.
I am small and I have Napoleon complex that I have to try to keep in check. I'm 5'3".
Why you and Q get along?
Hey man, kiss.
You kiss my black ass. You're not gonna sit there and talk about my little brother like that. First off,
look, he like
I got a stiletto for you.
He's like an inch taller than me. He want to talk, huh?
Not too much on my brother. Thank you very much. We're not gonna do that today.
Nah, man. But I mean, in a serious note, I guess we could say, oh man, and I say it like this: a poorly raised individual turns into a poorly mannered adult. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think if it goes unchecked, I mean, I do think that people can change, but I think that, if it goes unchecked and the people around you allow you to be a shitty person, you're just going to continue to be one. Like,
don't give that person no money. You know what I'm saying? Don't give that person no money. You give it away right now.
And I think it's very interesting when you're talking about people being shitty, right? Because I think we live in a society now where people like allow others to be shitty, where I don't think that, I don't think that I was raised in a way where the people around me would allow me to be a shitty person. And now for whatever reason, I think in a lot of spaces we uphold that, oh, that person's a savage, or oh, they're this, that, and the third. And it's like, oh, that type of behavior is applauded. And it's like, why would you applaud somebody being rude and shitty? Like, there's apparently something wrong with being like a nice person nowadays. Like, I don't get it. And like, it boggles the mind that people feel like common decency is above them.
They look like you got 4 eyes or something.
Yeah, because we're assholes by nature. People love assholes for some reason.
We can't say that. We can't say shitty people. We can't say that. We can't call females ain't shit bitches. We can't call dudes ain't shit dudes. This is what I believe. I believe that at the root of us, we are all good people. We just make very, very bad decisions. So we all here trying to do the best that we can do. We can't say that no more. I'm trying to start a movement. We can't say it. You can't do that.
All right. Positive vibes. I feel that. And look, I was put it like this. It's hard to really say, but you got some people who are just,
assholes.
It's like I can't even find the words that are nice for it, but they exist. I would just say those people exist, and maybe it's a lot more things. It's like one thing I would just say this: look, be nice to everybody. You never know who just needs to hear something positive from you, and that may change their whole demeanor. That's like I used to have a thing in school, and people used to make fun of the dude that came in trench coats, and I said, "Damn, that's it." Because when that dude come back and buck this whole school, if he ever came to that, I want him to look at me and say, "You know what? You always been cool with me. I'm gonna let you make it." That's how I used to live by.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. There's nothing wrong with just being nice to people, and I think that's the thing that people don't teach their children. Like, I mean, because like what you were saying with your baby, like I think if at home, if somebody was teaching them to be a decent person and to not talk shit about people behind their backs or to their faces and to just be kind to people that you consider your friends and not be catty to them, that wouldn't even have to be an issue that you have to have with your children. Oh, my alleged friends are talking crap about me behind my back. And I mean, because let's be realistic, if we're talking in terms of people being friends, like that, what about that signifies them being a good friend? Nothing, right? So the average person would be teaching their children that to be a good friend to somebody, you should be kind to them.
Oh man,
Well, what we had to teach her was that everybody's not your friend. You have to be able to give back your positive energy to the right people that's giving it back. That's one thing. But this is what I don't understand. My daughter is just made 13 Friday. My daughter is 5'9" in the 7th grade. I don't understand why these little girls sit there and mess with her, because if she hit them one good time, they call the police and she gonna be thrown under the jail. I don't understand that.
Because it's a group, it's a pack mentality. And I'll say that about girls, like they tend to be the worst about that, especially in puberty. It's a pack mentality. And if one digs their claws in and hones in to tease the other one, then they all hone in on that, and they all are, yeah.
Grown women that don't act the same way.
I agree. Like that's how you have the rise of what do they call it? Frenemies.
Oh yeah. Hey man, we all got our own things to deal with. It's like with men.
Yeah, frenemies.
I mean, not frenemies, but we got those situations where it's like, damn, how can I kind of word it? I've met a couple guys who only befriend the ones that they know they can whoop their ass. They don't befriend anyone who's potentially a threat to them. I would say that. Have you seen situations like that? Maybe that's just me.
So essentially, they run with a pack of men, but only one of them can be alpha. So the alpha then surrounds himself with what could reasonably be considered beta men.
I've seen that before. So what you saying?
He's not an alpha. Because an alpha male is going to stand with anybody.
I agree.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Being an alpha male is not something that you can speak about. It's something that is seen.
I 100% agree with you. But I just, we'll call it fake alpha or pseudo alpha or wannabe alpha. But
and you got a lot of them out here. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do. But man, look, we running along on time, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and start closing this out. VJ, give us your final thoughts. Where people can get in contact with you, and anything else that's coming up, and then from there, so I want you to go next.
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't think I have anything to plug particularly, but final thoughts. I will just say this. In terms of just trying to be positive about things, I think that as people, we just have to hold each other accountable. And I know people like to say that things aren't their business. They like to say that doesn't involve me. That's not my problem. But I can assure you that, like we were talking about, people not being able to accept no and people not being able to deal with things emotionally, that's an issue that kind of involves us all when you have things like people going on shooting rampages and assaulting women for not giving them their phone numbers. Like those are serious issues. And so I feel like it would behoove us all, even if we don't necessarily know somebody in our immediate circle that does or says these things, when you see that type of behavior in people, point it out. We want people to be good people. And like you were saying, I think that inherently we are all good people. And sometimes it just takes someone pointing out that we can be better, that we can do better. And I think if we start holding each other accountable and making sure that we are trying to be better and do better, the world will be a better place. Just be kind and encourage other people to be kind as well. Yeah, I think that's really my final say on that. But yeah, if you want to further the conversation or talk to me about anything or ask me questions or just tell me how much you absolutely hate me, you can catch me on Twitter at VJ_Burton, VJ_BURTON. Snapchat is MeekB, and my IG is always VibrantV, all one word. V is VEE. So yeah, I'm always on the Twitters. So yeah, feel free to hit me up and tell me something interesting.
I totally agree with what you were saying. We gotta, before we can hold each other accountable, we gotta hold ourselves accountable. We have to recognize the faults and flaws within ourselves. Once we do that, then we are well on our way to becoming better people. Just like I said, man, we all, I think, have the good in us, but moral fiber in us is that we do things, we do bad things, we make bad decisions, and we let our emotions get the best of us sometimes. So it's just, when you know better, you do better. So we just focus on our own personal accountability. Then we can get better. Then we can start focusing on accountability of others. And that's what being a real friend is about. It's not real friends out in life anymore. Notice your real friends are the ones you've been knowing 10, 15, 20 years sometimes. So it's very rare, like for me and Q, for example. I haven't known Q about a year. You know what I'm saying? That's a real dude. That's rare. That's rare to have, to come across a brother that's 100 with himself and then 100 out here in the world. You know what I'm saying? So we just concentrate on being better people, being better friends. You know what I'm saying? And just doing the best we can.
Where can we find you?
Huh?
I said, well, where can we find you if we want to talk to you? What are your social medias?
On Facebook, Philip Soul Wonder Brown. I am also at Instagram at soul_the_ Soul Wonder _the_South. And I'm on Twitter too at soulwonder.com, but at Soul Wonder, but I'm mostly on Facebook and Instagram.
Cool beans.
All right. Oh man, what to say about all this stuff? I mean, it's one thing I acknowledged early on, and I know a lot of people are gonna get mad when I say this, but I realize we ain't half of us ain't shit anyway. I mean, I think that's one of those things you kind of have to acknowledge. Is like, you know what? I'm a fucked up person. I'm messed up. All right, I acknowledge I'm messed up. Now, what can we do to work on it? And I think that's another thing is that a lot of people don't want to realize their faults. And I think that also plays another role in us seeking help with anything. It's like, hey man, I can't run the VJ or I can't run the soul my problems because I'm not supposed to have problems. So I'm gonna just, hide them and pretend like they don't exist until they finally blow up in my face. Now I got an issue. So I think that when it really boils down to it, this is one of those situations. Like I said, yeah, inherently, I think we're born in good. We kind of understand being good people and things, and then all of a sudden we get into society, and a lot of our views get distorted, or there's certain things we feel like we can't discuss, and so on and so forth. And before you know it, we're Steve Stevens out here wondering why the cops is looking for us. One of those type of situations. So. And even when it comes to guys like me, I would just put this out there to men. It's like, look, nobody is obligated to want to deal with you. So when you get mad at women, and this goes both ways. It's like if you get mad at somebody because they don't want to reciprocate the feelings that you think you have, shame. Okay, fine. Allow them to have that choice, and you just move on. And I know that's hard for people to deal with rejection, but rejection is a part of life. Because not everybody's going to accept you for what you got coming. And that's just how it goes. And you have to deal with that. And I think that's some of the biggest issues that we have as a society as a whole, because we feel that everybody, and that's why I kind of disagree when people say, "Oh, you should accept everybody with what they have." It's like, no, you don't. You're not obligated to do that. If you choose, if you don't want them in your circle, you don't have to have them in your circle. You just let them be. You don't have to talk about them, but you don't have to have them in your circle. But that's just what I say on that. And other than that, yeah. If you want to send me hate mail, which I know is going to happen, it's all good. But y'all, can hit me up on Twitter at CIUw or Q the Great. You can also hit me up on Facebook with Quentin Simpson, or you can also hit up the networks page at the Critical Dump page, Critical Dump, which will be facebook.com/the Critical Dump. Or you can also, check us out on Spreaker. They got a couple different shows. We have the Critical Dump podcast, which is bi-weekly. And we talk a little bit of everything. That's pretty more of an open-ended show, forum show, and things like that. And then you also have Happy Politics with my man Eric. And you also have this particular show with Chopping Up a Q, where you can hear all this type of dialogue that goes on. You can also hit me up on Instagram if you want to see, any pictures of me and all my sexiness or anything that's related to the show. You can also check out my my personal Instagram, which would be Quentin. I think it's QSimp05 on that one. So, other than that, I want to thank, of course, my great co-hosts, because they're always dope as always. And, I thank them for coming on and dealing with me for this past, 5-6 months? Yeah, it's like we've been going there 6 months. Matter of fact, this is our 30th show, 30. How I forget that? So, even with that, man, anybody who's been rocking us for 30 shows so far, or 30 episodes, man, I want to thank everybody who's even participated, ones who listened, so on and so forth. All the pod fam, because y'all been great support and great mentor, especially my man John, my man D Murph. Y'all been kind of helping me stay on the up and up, and I appreciate everybody who's been helping me during this journey. VJ, she decided she wanted to deal with me for a little bit longer, so I thank you. And Soul been riding with me since the beginning, man. So I just want to say I appreciate all y'all. So,
hey, I love you back.
Hey man, that's what's up. But man, other than that, man, we finna be up out. I know we've been on for a minute, and yeah, this is a longer episode, but I appreciate everybody coming on, man. We out.
You can't eat or sleep, cause you was up waiting. I can't eat or sleep, cause they was up hating. The money calling, baby, and I ain't got Kyle waiting. I gotta answer that, can't miss the smile faces. Any is plenty, or any is many when I'm after the money more. Saving up pennies, and envy is envy when